Cheers guys, and welcome to part 2 of this Uncle Scott's Pancast. Since the last Pancast, part 1, we were kind of griping about these gas stoves. In the meantime, my wife's family came over. I fixed Sunday dinner here on the old gas stove. In the first part, I was on coffee. Now, since they've been here, I'm on a little bit harder stuff. Cheers. And everyone survived. I want to give a shout out to the old Emile Tagines. Got that thing a couple months ago. I've really been enjoying that thing. I made some Moroccan chicken, kind of my twist on the Moroccan chicken. A lot of those Moroccan chicken recipes have preserved lemons. I found that I don't care for the preserved lemons as much, but I do kind of like fresh lemons. So I might put up kind of my twist, one of those Moroccan chicken recipes pretty soon. Okay, in this part of the Pancast, we're going to talk about marriage and popcorn. Marriage and popcorn, we're going to talk about this copper diffuser plate, some Yaxell sharpening stones, and a little bit more. Now, what does marriage have to do with popcorn? Funny you should ask. Now, I know a lot of you guys are younger guys and girls, and if you want to, grab a pen and take notes because I'm going to give you a little glimpse into your future. Now, it was probably 6 months or so ago, back at the end of last summer, we were talking about the supply chain and these big vats of Orville Redenbacher popcorn that normally you could find at Costco or Sam's. They were just not to be found. We talked about a little bit of capitalism and supply and demand. I have a relatively inelastic demand for popcorn. Costco and Sam's were not meeting my supply needs. I started going to the grocery store and buying the smaller little vats of Redenbacher. And I also started buying Red Mill, Bob's Red Mill. I did a couple videos about that. I really do like this Red Mill. So I'm buying some Redenbacher and also some Red Mill. Now the other day, sitting here minding my own business, my wife had gone to Costco and the phone rang. And she said, I noticed they have those big vats of Redenbacher back in. And I said, oh, that's pretty interesting. That's good to know that they're back at Costco. And she said, do you want me to get you one? And I said, well, I had just gone to the grocery store and I just bought 2 bags of Bob's Red Mill. And she said, well, you're not going to just quit eating Redenbacher, are you? I said, no, I still eat some Redenbacher. It's just I don't need any right now. And she thought about it for a while and said, you know what? I'm going to get you one anyway. What? Why did you call me? And I have got a ton of popcorn to eat. Last night, we got our son in bed and asleep at 8:30. Usually does not go that smoothly, but it did. And my wife said, would you like to snuggle on the couch and watch a movie? You want somebody to snuggle? I am your guy. So she gets on the couch and is picking out a movie. I make a bowl of popcorn. I walk over to the couch. She takes a look at me and says, do you think you should be eating all that popcorn? What? Next up, I want to talk about this guy. This is a copper diffuser plate that I got from Duparquet. It cost about $120, thick copper. I think it's 3 millimeters, at least 2.5. It may be 3 millimeters thick copper. Very solid. It comes in, it's shiny when it's brand new. Then when you start using it, it's actually kind of interesting. The colors and patterns on it kind of change shape and design every time you cook with it. But I'm still getting used to this thing. I'm not really ready to give it a review. I don't know if I'll even give it a review. But what I've noticed is that, well, first thing, I bought this because when I use bigger cookware, for example, this Le Creuset Dutch oven, if I use that on a high output burner, the high output burner is great for bringing things up to a boil for searing meat, but it doesn't have a good setting for a low simmer. If I use a big wide piece of cookware on one of the other eyes, the smaller ones or the medium ones, and turn that thing down really low, I'll get a spot in the middle where the soup or stew or whatever I'm trying to simmer kind of boils in the middle, but not out towards the edges. So I got one of these copper diffuser plates to kind of mitigate that. Now what I found with the copper diffuser plate is that when I use it, it almost seems like I have the inverse of that. I get more bubbling and sizzling and simmering out towards the edges in the larger cookware and not quite as much in the middle. So there's still a few nuances I am trying to work through with this and figure out exactly the best way to use it. We did cook bacon in it the last couple of days for breakfast. One thing I've noticed is that, for example, this is an all-clad D3. It is not warped. It's not a spinner, but my wife said when the bacon was cooking that, well, it seems to be cooking a little more on one side versus the other. And what I've found is that there's just a very slight wobble. The thing is not warped, but it's not 100% completely flat. Now the copper does a great job at spreading the heat, and arguably here it may have just been the pig, who knows. But I thought the bacon I cooked in a couple different pans with the copper diffuser, I thought the ends of the bacon were a little bit less curly than some of the other bacon I've cooked, and that may be because the heat in that copper is spreading more evenly out towards the sides of the pan. Who knows, I'm going to do a little bit more testing on that. And a shout out to Duparquet. They are one of the few companies left still kind of making some of that high-end hand done copper line, tin line copper cookware these days. Very expensive. I don't own any of the cookware. I could afford the diffuser plate. If I ever do win the lottery though, I'm going to spend some money at Duparquet. The saga of my Kramer carbon steel chef's knife, it continues, it's ongoing. I had chipped off the tip, stupidly using this as an ice pick. Never use a $400 chef's knife as a knife pick. Good rule of thumb there. But I wanted to get some sharpening stones and kind of reshape the blade and get this thing back into shape. Now, I did a video a couple weeks ago on how to cut French fries, how to make hand-cut French fries. I used this knife in the video and somebody pointed out, well, you still haven't fixed your knife yet, have you? No, I haven't, but I finally got some Yaxell sharpening stones in. So let's take a look at those. I got a 400 grit, a 1000 grit, and a 5000 grit. And I've not used these yet, they're still in the package. But these were on sale at Cutlery and More, and less than 25 bucks for these things. So hopefully they're going to work. Look pretty neat. And I'll let you know if these things are good for reshaping a carbon steel chef's knife or not. Yaxells. We'll see how they go. Let's talk a little bit about aero gardens. Have you guys ever used one of these aero gardens? Kind of a hydroponic system with a grow light. And you can get different herbs and seeds and tomatoes and get those to grow indoors. Good thing to do around here in the wintertime. It's Utah, it's snowing outside. I've had one for a couple of years and I kind of go through fits and starts with this thing. I'll get it going for a while and I'll use it for a while and it actually works really well, but then I'll stop using it for a while. In the grocery store the other day, they wanted $3 a bundle for rosemary, for thyme, for chives. It's just kind of crazy to pay $9 for the herbs for $5-6 worth of chicken. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. And occasionally I resolve to say I'm going to get out my aero garden, get that thing going again. So I got it going again now. Got some seed pods in there, and these things have sprouted in less than a week, so I like that. These aero gardens, they're either fantastic or they're a complete waste of time and money. And it just depends on whether you're actually going to use one or not. And just a quick note on the politics in the first part of this video, in part one, I felt like we really needed to talk about the gas stove issue. It really goes to the heart of what we do around here. It goes to the heart of my business model, my videos. I've got a dog in the hunt. It also goes to the heart of how over 100 million people cook their dinner. So I thought it was worth mentioning. Now I have I have tried to keep politics out of Uncle Scott's kitchen. 43% of the audience, not from America and couldn't care less about our politics anyway. B, politics kind of sucks some of the joy and fun out of everything. It's much better to have some drinks and good food and a good time with your family and friends, even if you don't agree with their politics, especially during COVID. You know, we didn't really get involved in any of the COVID stuff, but during the lockdowns, it was really nice to talk to people from Norway, South Korea, Australia, France, Italy, Spain, all over the world. And I'm sure everybody has their own politics and things going on in their country. But I always thought one thing we could all agree on is we like having fun and hanging out and having a good meal and good food and wine and fun in the kitchen. So we're not going to turn it into a big political discourse channel around here, but when there's an issue that really goes to the heart of the kitchen, everybody's home kitchen, as the gas stove issue did, if there's an issue that goes to cookware or appliances or wine or food additives, something really in our wheelhouse, we'll mention it when we have to, but let's all try and keep it civil. We're all friends around here. You are more than welcome to disagree with me, and I respect your opinion. Post your most persuasive arguments in the comment section below the video. Maybe it will persuade somebody. Maybe I will persuade some of you. Who knows? The only opinion that I have heard so far that I really get annoyed at is people that say this is fake news and not an issue. If you disagree with me, I can respect it, but just saying it's not an issue, that's the only thing I really don't like. But let's try and keep it civil. We'll work all this stuff out. Hopefully it will all work out for the best. Who knows? Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Pancast.